Hello and welcome back to the channel. So now the story carries on with the Atiku Abubakar battle for his perceived stolen mandate. He's of course with the Electoral Tribunal now trying to reverse the results declared by Professor Yakubu of INEC declaring Buhari as president. So now it looks as though Professor Yakubu and INEC are now coming out to back Malam Buhari, President Buhari. So I'll bring you the headline and then we can discuss it afterwards. There are no election results on our server. Atiku's figures are false. So this is what INEC has come out to declare. So now let's get into the body of it. The Independent National Electoral Commission has distanced itself from the server results which the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar are laying claim to as the true results of the February 23rd election. INEC said this in its reply to the petition filed before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal by the PDP and Atiku to challenge the outcome of the February 23rd election. The commission, through its lead counsel, Yunus Usman San, said the results of the polls were never transmitted or collated electronically. It added that it kept no such server where such electronically transmitted results could have been obtained. INEC had on the 27th of February 2019 declared that the All Progressive Congress alongside its candidate President Muhammadu Buhari won the February 23rd election with 15,191,847 votes to defeat its closest rival Atiku, who is said to have polled 11,262,978 votes. But the petitioners stated that from the data on the first respondent, that is INEC's server, the true and actual correct results from the state-to-state computation show that Atiku polled a total of 18,356,732 votes to defeat Buhari, who they said scored 16,741,430 votes. They said the results were the total votes scored by the candidates in 35 states and the Federal Capital Territory Abuja, as there was no report on server about the results from Rivers State as of February 25th, 2019. By calculation, Atiku and the PDP claimed to have defeated Buhari by 1,615,302 votes, but the commission, urging the tribunal to dismiss the petition, said in its reply filed on April 10 that the petitioner's claims were false. The INEC's Director, Information and Communication Technology, Mr. Chidi Nwafo, in his witness statement on oath attached to the reply, specifically denied the server results which the petitioners were laying claim to. He said all the results were collated manually and were never transmitted electronically. Nwafo added that Buhari was duly elected by majority of the lawful votes cast at the presidential election. He stated that the petitioners are claiming that votes recorded at various polling units were electronically transmitted and stored on the first respondent INEC server, that the petitioners are also claiming that based on the server's content, they and not the second and third respondent won the presidential election, that these claims of the petitioners are false, as I know as fact that the second respondent was duly elected by majority of the lawful vote cast at the presidential election and scored at least a quarter of the lawful votes cast at the election in 33 states and the Federal Capital Territory Abuja, and more than 2/3 of all the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Nwafo also stated that the petitioner did not win the majority of the lawful votes cast and did not satisfy the mandatory constitutional requirements to be declared winner, having polled 11,262,978 and 1/4 of all lawful votes cast in 29 states and the Federal Capital Territory Abuja, as against the second respondent who scored 15,191,800 47 votes cast and 1/4 of the lawful votes cast in 33 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And on it goes. So that's really an affidavit from the INEC spokesperson, their director of communication, coming out to say now that the figures that the Atiku Abubakar campaign organization is quoting as evidence to the petition is actually false, because they never stored any data on their server, and there's no such server where information can be obtained from. So this begs another series of questions, because they're now saying they transmitted these things manually, which lends itself, of course, to rigging, and we all know then what's happened even more. That's more even an affirmation of what we have already said, that really these figures were just written down. So they themselves are now coming out to say that they indeed wrote down those figures. So that's one element. Then the second element, of course, is the claim by Atiku Abubakar organization, saying that they have proof positive, they have information from a database, from a server, that they can provide to assert their position. So now that is another angle. So obviously they've come out to say this, and they've brought this to the court. So obviously they must then have some sort of evidence, otherwise they would not have said that. You would not go to court to say I have evidence of this wrongdoing, and then turn up in court and not provide that evidence of that wrongdoing. So if they are stating this categorically and they are stating this publicly, then surely there must be something to back that up. But what is that thing then that then backs that up? Because INEC is now saying that it doesn't have anything on the server and nothing was transmitted electronically, but then the Atiku Abubakar organization are claiming that they have information that would affirm and assert that they actually won the elections. They are actually quoting figures. So then this is now where the game is. So effectively what they are saying, and this is a reading, because obviously I'm not part of the Atiku Abubakar organization, I'm not a fan of this. I only like Buhari less than I like him. It's not that I like him especially, but my reading, just detached and independent, my reading of what they're saying is they have through gatherings of information and through being present in polling booths and through going through the collation processes and through monitoring all of the voting, they have been able to collate sufficient enough of a documentation of the weights that the votes were cast nationally to come up with a permutation that would suggest that Atiku Abubakar actually won that election. So that is really the reading of it. So that is the data that they have. They have people at polling booths. They probably have like a documented video evidence, etc., that would show this. So this is now where the permutation is. So now this is now going to the subjective element of this whole thing, because it is now a subjective view as to the reading of this data that they're going to present. Because if this data indeed is not coming from a server, and if INEC are claiming that they don't have a server, and if INEC does not have a server, by the way, that's another question that should be asked by that panel, because where did then all that billions go? If you don't have servers to store information, or if these informations were not stored electronically, then where did all that billion, I think it was nearly 200 billion or even more, was given to this Professor Mahmoud Yakubu fella to run an election, and it doesn't even have a server. They can't even transmit the results electronically in a country that has a telecom system. Everybody carries a mobile phone, so they can't find a secure server within that structure to transmit. I mean, it's an absolutely ridiculous thing that these people are suggesting, but then we all know that these people are ridiculous people anyway. So now this is the going on. So this is a separate question, and this question itself lends itself to the argument of rigging, by the way, because if they are saying they don't have a server and they are manually, so are they then manually carrying results from Borno State all the way to Abuja to come and write it down in a country like Nigeria, where those figures in transit would have changed 150 times? So this is all nonsense. So now the the server must be established, and then it must be interrogated, and they have to bring all these IT experts to come and interrogate that server, because of course that server would have been gotten at. So now the battle now is the Nigerian people and Atiku Abubakar against Professor Yakubu and his paymaster Buhari. So this is where the storyline is. So now they've come out with this one for fella to come and blow grammar to the panel, and Professor Yakubu too, he will come and blow his grammar. But this has now gone beyond grammar blowing, because we are now rather going into the details, into the minutiae of the details of what actually happened in that election, where all these figures were suddenly emerging. There were 80% uptake in Borno, a war zone, and there was a 60% downturn in the southeastern states, all the Igbo states where there's peace reigning and they're anti-Buhari. So there's 60% less voting in peaceful states, and there's 80% more voting in Borno state. So firstly, who is in Borno state? How many people are even in Borno state where they're getting nearly 1 million votes from? Is Boko Haram voting for Buhari now? Because this is the question that we're asking, because this is the question that the results lends itself to. So this is where the conversation is now. This is where rather the conversation is now. So INEC have now come out to back Buhari, and we are all already aware that INEC is already a Buhari sympathizer anyway. I will bring a picture up. I'll look up a picture of the Professor Yakubu wearing an APC hat. So, and I put that in the slideshow, so you already know where his sympathies are, and your sympathies, of course, with whoever is paying you. So now we're now getting to the details of it. So INEC have now taken their position and they are backing Buhari. So it's now left to Atiku now to find whatever information that he's able to gather to convince this panel. The panel of obviously also will be for Buhari as well. So he's now fighting on 3 fronts. He's fighting INEC, the panel, and the Nigerian state to rescue the Nigerian people and the Nigerian mandate from these structures. So it's a Herculean task, but this is one that he has to take on, because he has to follow this through, and the follow through is now what we are seeing. So INEC has declared their hand. We already know where Buhari is. It's telling us that Atiku is not even a Nigerian. So this is the direction of travel that they are going to go. So we don't even have a Nigerian as a possibility. We have Jubril from Chad, or where is it? From Chad as Buhari, and then we have Atiku from Cameroon as Atiku. So where is the Nigerian in the two of them is what we don't know. But now this is where the battle line is. So now, what says you? INEC has come out to say they don't have a server, and then therefore the information that Atiku Abubakar and his organization are peddling is false. So this is now a position, and this is the subject of discussion of this video. So come have a conversation with me around this topic in the comment section. But before you come have a conversation with me around this topic in the comment section, click on the red subscribe button so it goes gray, the bell button as well, so you are notified as soon as I drop a new video. Then once you've done that, come have this important chat with me in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, meet you in the comment section, but here I say peace.